Look, it's not about being okay all the time or being whole or having your shit together. It's about what the fuck are you going to do with not being okay or whole or having your shit together. How much time do we waste labeling our inadequacies or lamenting upon our situations and the shitty way we feel about them? How much time do we waste uselessly wishing shit wasn't the way it is? Here's what matters. Now is what matters. Whatever the fuck you're feeling and the way in which your mind and emotions are responding is what's happening now. And yet we don't deal with them directly. We use subterfuge, or we bury them or make excuses or try to blame them away. Each thing that we don't deal with is like a single grain of gunpowder. Not much oomph in a grain, but the shit piles up. So we walk around with these various piles of gunpowder relating to our manifold unresolved issues. Thoughts are made of electrical impulses in our wrinkly pink meat computer. And so communication, be it in vibrational waves from a mouth hole or digital content behind a screen, are basically sparks. So we go on about our day, throwing sparks at people in the form of communication and also receiving the communication sparks of others. These sparks are inherently benign. Even if some fucker is purposely saying shit to try to light you off, a spark can't hurt you. It's just a little prick. Not that kind, don't be a dumbass. You just feel a little prick on your proverbial skin, no biggie, but if someone, for example, throws a spark of "you're not enough," aka "you suck," and it lands on your gunpowder pile of insecurity, then guess what? Boom, motherfucker. We don't want to feel hurt, so we get pissed off instead. We still don't want to look at our shit, so we get defensive. We blame and we fight, but is that right? A spark's just a spark. It can't hurt you, but if you are emotionally combustive about an outer circumstance, maybe take a fucking breath and think about what's happening within you. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying be thankful for douchebags and dumbasses. Who gives a shit what they think? Fuck them. But also, if you aren't willing to look at and own your own shit, then you will just be constantly defensive and unable to discern someone with good intentions versus an asshole. When you're defensive, you make everyone else the asshole. Now, if you find yourself in a position of needing to throw some sparks at a potentially flammable person or situation, maybe instead of sparks or pointing fingers or even saying the word "you," maybe describe your own pile and how it feels when it's on fire. If you communicate by being vulnerable and honest, it's like a fire extinguisher. And then no sparks get thrown, and maybe it'll cajole the other person into talking about their pile, and you'll learn some shit about yourselves and each other, or maybe not. But you can only do what you can do. But no one can dispute how you feel when you leave them the fuck out of it. So there you go. Now you know. The rest is just work. Try being honest with yourself. Take a step behind thoughts and paradigms into your base nature, which is a lucid, wakeful field of consciousness, and view the contents of the mind in the form of thoughts and mental events rather than being those thoughts. You are not your fucking thoughts. You are something much more vast and ineffable than the thought plane. Sink into it by simply observing thought. To observe something, there has to be an observer and something observed. So get a little distance. Forgive yourself for being a normal fucking human being trying their best to get by, and do the work by not being afraid to look at and untangle the defenses you put in place to try to feel better, but only serve to fuck you up later. The work can only be done by you. Toodaloo.